Is Chris Paul cursed? Phoenix Suns point guard Chris Paul has entered the NBA's health and safety protocols and is out indefinitely. I have a little bit of reporting on that. From what I'm hearing, Chris Paul has tested positive for COVID, but he has been vaccinated. And there's not a mandatory 10 to 14 day absence, but he is going to have to test negative 24 hours apart twice. And once that happens, he can, leave quarantine and play in the series. But we're talking about a West Finals that's either going to start Sunday or Tuesday, depending on if Jazz or Clippers go 7. So Paul, he's coming off a dominant sweep of the Nuggets where he recorded a season high 37 points in Sunday's series clinching 125-118 win. He had 41 assists and just 5 turnovers in the series, 25.5 points per game, 10.3 assists, 69% from the field. He had 7 more mid-range makes in the series than Denver's entire team. Ethan, how do you think Chris Paul's potential absence in game 1 affects the Suns?
Obviously it means they could drop a game. He is essential to them. I think we've seen a little bit from campaign in this postseason, though, that he can take over for a spell. He can be aggressive. He can compensate. But if Chris Paul was out for the series, they'd be cooked, even if I don't even know what they're going to be up against, because there are so many damn injuries. It's insane right now. At least in the case of Paul, this is a process. There will be a start. There will be a finish. And his body, I'd have to assume, will not be compromised. So it seems like more of a short-term concern. But the crazy thing is just looking at what are the Suns going to be up against? What kind of state is the team that they're going to play? I would have to guess it's the Jazz, even if they still don't have Conley at this juncture, just based on the news we're hearing out of the Clippers, where their best player has an ACL issue, I guess we'll put it vaguely. So it is so hard to keep track of whatever the hell is going on, because it seems like we're at the end of the movie and all the characters are dying. It's one of those montages at the end of The Godfather where everybody's getting off. That's what it feels like right now in the NBA.
Well, you have, you mentioned the Mike Conley, who just Annette said he had a setback earlier with his hamstring injury. Donovan Mitchell, while playing well, is grabbing at his ankle like almost every time he's landing at this point. You mentioned the Kawhi Leonard situation. The thing with Paul is if he's symptom free, whenever he exits quarantine, he's not like trying to return from an injury. He should be kind of full go if this is a short stay. And Phoenix, if Paul is there, is the healthiest of the teams remaining in the West. Switching it over, Marcus. Maybe you could contextualize this point in Chris Paul's career. This seems like the path is opening for him, but just as it's opening, he's entering quarantine.
Presuming he is like healthy and he's fine, right? Like he's not at risk for like hospitalization or some of the long-term effects we've seen. Presuming that's not the case, I actually think this might be good. This might be good for him.
Rest it.
Yeah, he gets to rest. Campaign has been playing well, and maybe they don't win game 1, but maybe they could, right? Depending on who they're playing. Like they could dust off Javon Carter, my guy, or, Etuan Moore, one of those guys, and give him some minutes. But is it the worst thing in the world for them to be down in a series and Chris Paul comes back and now he doesn't have to play 7 games, but maybe he only has to play 4 or 5? I think that's good for him to not have to gruel through a 7-game series. If he's coming back and he's fine, it's not the worst thing in the world. Phoenix has been they've been kind of ready for this. They've got the role players. They're kind of okay to lose Chris Paul for a game.
This is the start of it. This is how it starts. This is how it begins. I remember back in the day, we said, wow, the Spurs are really weird with this load management. They're a very strange team, the way they go about it. But it's just the Spurs. Next thing you know, everybody's load managing. This is how it starts. We're going to see load management postseason edition.
Hey, Ethan, it did not start on this podcast. It started last night when, did you see Reggie Miller's tweet about should Steve Nash keep Kevin Durant and James Harden in Brooklyn and, push all his chips into game
6? Yeah.
Wow. Should they? I can't do a Reggie Miller.
Go tank a game 6 in a high intensity.
Hey, man, Reggie Miller knows a thing or two about winning
because game
time.
7s at home are such a guarantee, right?
Yeah. This might be the new trend. This is the Galaxy Brain take. And Jay, just because it's a playoff game doesn't mean
you're the one who wrote about Chris Paul not being able to finish series and the kind of remember like, hey, how towards 6-7 is, the wear and tear builds up. The way to avoid that. Missed the first game or two.
But he's coming. He's going to be coming off like 8 days of rest. They just swept Denver so easily, so it's not like he's just like dragging into this series.
I just don't think he'd be. I don't think it'd be the worst thing in the world. Campaign starts game 1. If they lose, Chris Paul comes back and saves them.
Particularly, if it's
you
in
beat
Utah,
him without Chris Paul. If you beat him without Chris Paul, you've taken their heart too. That's just then they're just done. I mean, that's one of those humiliating. Greg Popovich didn't play any of the Spurs and you get beat losses. So, hey, I think it could be good. It's better to have Chris Paul than not to have Chris Paul. I just wonder if at some point with this rest revolution, teams start taking the Reggie Miller and that starts becoming a real thing. Crazier things have happened.